Hey there, folks. Tonight, we're diving into the wild world of cryptocurrency, specifically El Salvador's bold experiment with Bitcoin. In 2021, this small Central American nation made history by becoming the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. Yep, you heard that right, they went full crypto. This unprecedented move sent shockwaves through the global financial system, sparking both excitement and skepticism. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would a country hitch its wagon to something as volatile as Bitcoin? Well, El Salvador's government, led by the ever-so-slightly eccentric President Nayib Bukele, had their reasons. They argued that Bitcoin could revolutionize their economy, particularly by offering financial services to the unbanked population and reducing reliance on the US dollar. This bold move thrust El Salvador into the global spotlight. It became a testing ground for the potential of cryptocurrency to reshape a nation's financial landscape. But, as with any grand experiment, there have been both successes and challenges along the way. Some businesses have thrived, embracing the new technology, while others have struggled with the volatility and technical issues. The people of El Salvador have had mixed reactions, with some seeing it as a path to financial freedom, and others viewing it as a risky gamble. Educational programs have been launched to help citizens understand and use Bitcoin, aiming to bridge the knowledge gap. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the ins and outs of El Salvador's Bitcoin gamble and what it could mean for the future of finance in this pioneering nation. One of the main selling points of Bitcoin in El Salvador was the promise of financial inclusion. The government touted it as a revolutionary step towards modernizing the country's financial system. See, a large chunk of the population, roughly 70%, didn't have access to traditional banking services. This meant that many Salvadorans were excluded from the financial benefits that come with having a bank account. They relied heavily on cash, which, let's be honest, can be a real pain in the you-know-what. Cash transactions are not only cumbersome but also risky, especially in areas with high crime rates. The government believed that Bitcoin, with its decentralized nature and accessibility through smartphones, could bridge this gap. They envisioned a future where everyone, even those in the most remote areas, could participate in the digital economy. The idea was to empower ordinary Salvadorans, particularly those in rural areas, by giving them access to digital financial tools. This would, in theory, open up new economic opportunities and improve their quality of life.
Think about it. No more long lines at banks, which can be incredibly time-consuming and frustrating. No more exorbitant fees to send money to loved ones. These fees often eat into the already limited resources of many families. Just quick, easy, and supposedly cheap transactions using Bitcoin. The convenience of using a smartphone for payments was a major selling point. It sounded like a dream come true for many. The promise of financial inclusion was a beacon of hope. But, as we'll see later, reality often has a way of throwing a wrench in the best laid plans. The road to financial inclusion through Bitcoin was not as smooth as anticipated.
Now let's talk about remittances, those vital sums of money that Salvadorans working abroad send back home to support their families. These funds are often the difference between making ends meet and falling into poverty for many households. These remittances are a big deal for El Salvador's economy, accounting for a significant chunk of its GDP. In fact, they are one of the primary sources of income for the country, helping to stabilize the economy and support local businesses. But traditional remittance services often charge hefty fees, eating into the hard-earned money that families rely on. These fees can sometimes be as high as 10%, which means less money for food, education, and healthcare. The government saw Bitcoin as a potential solution to this problem. They believed that by adopting Bitcoin, they could reduce these fees significantly. They argued that Bitcoin's lower transaction fees could save Salvadorans millions of dollars each year. This extra money could then be used to improve their quality of life, invest in their future, and stimulate the local economy.
Imagine the impact that extra money could have on families struggling to make ends meet. It could mean better nutrition, access to education, and improved living conditions. It was a compelling argument, no doubt. The potential benefits were clear, and many were hopeful that this new approach would bring positive change. The prospect of cheaper and faster remittances was a major factor in the government's decision to embrace Bitcoin. They envisioned a future where financial transactions were more efficient and accessible to everyone. But, as with any new technology, there were bound to be some bumps in the road. The transition wasn't always smooth, and there were challenges that needed to be addressed.
To facilitate the adoption of Bitcoin, the Salvadoran government launched its own digital wallet, aptly named Chivo, which means cool in Salvadoran slang. The Chivo wallet was designed to make it easy for people to buy, sell, and store Bitcoin, even if they weren't familiar with the intricacies of cryptocurrency.
To sweeten the deal, the government offered a $30 Bitcoin incentive to anyone who downloaded and used the Chivo wallet. They also threw in some discounts on gas because who doesn't love saving a few bucks at the pump? The Chivo wallet was supposed to be the key to unlocking the potential of Bitcoin for everyday Salvadorans. It was a bold move, but not without its share of controversy and challenges.
Now let's talk about the potential upsides of El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment. One of the main arguments in favor of adopting Bitcoin was its potential to attract foreign investment.
The thinking was that by becoming a Bitcoin hub, El Salvador could attract tech companies and entrepreneurs looking to set up shop in a crypto-friendly environment. This, in turn, could lead to job creation and economic growth.
Moreover, embracing Bitcoin was seen as a way for El Salvador to position itself at the forefront of technological innovation. It was a chance to shed its image as a developing country and become a leader in the digital economy. But, and this is a big but, there's a flip side to this crypto coin. One of the biggest challenges facing El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment is the notorious volatility of the cryptocurrency market.
Bitcoin's price is known to swing wildly, sometimes losing a significant portion of its value in a matter of days or even hours. This volatility creates a lot of uncertainty for businesses and individuals using Bitcoin.
Imagine trying to run a business when the value of your cash register can fluctuate by 20% in a single day. It's enough to give anyone a heart attack.
This volatility has made it difficult for El Salvador to fully integrate Bitcoin into its economy. It also raises concerns about the long-term sustainability of the experiment.
Remember the Chivo wallet, that digital gateway to the Bitcoin world? Well, it hasn't been all smooth sailing. The Chivo wallet has been plagued by technical glitches and security issues since its launch.
Users have reported problems with identity verification, unauthorized transactions, and difficulties accessing their funds. Not exactly the seamless user experience the government was hoping for.
These security concerns have eroded public trust in the Chivo wallet, and by extension, in El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment as a whole. It's a reminder that even with the best of intentions, implementing new technology on a national scale is no easy feat. Now let's talk about the environmental elephant in the room. Bitcoin's energy consumption. Mining Bitcoin, the process by which new coins are created and transactions are verified, requires a tremendous amount of computing power.
This energy-intensive process has raised concerns about Bitcoin's carbon footprint and its impact on climate change. And let's just say, El Salvador isn't exactly known for its abundance of renewable energy sources.
So, while Bitcoin might be a digital currency, it has very real-world environmental consequences. This has led some critics to argue that El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment is at odds with its commitment to combating climate change. So, how has El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment been received? Well, it's a mixed bag, to say the least. Some Salvadorans, particularly younger generations and those involved in the tech industry, have embraced Bitcoin with open arms.
They see it as a way to participate in the global digital economy and potentially improve their financial well-being.
However, there's also been significant pushback. Many Salvadorans remain skeptical of Bitcoin, citing its volatility, security concerns, and the lack of transparency surrounding the government's handling of the rollout. El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment has been closely watched by other countries considering their own forays into the world of cryptocurrency. The lessons learned from El Salvador's experience, both positive and negative, are invaluable for policymakers and economists around the globe.
One key takeaway is that implementing a new currency is a complex and challenging undertaking. It requires careful planning, robust infrastructure, and a clear understanding of the potential risks and rewards.
El Salvador's experiment has also highlighted the importance of addressing the digital divide and ensuring that all segments of society can benefit from new technologies.
So, what does the future hold for Bitcoin in El Salvador? That's the million-dollar question, or perhaps we should say the million Bitcoin question. The truth is, it's still too early to tell whether El Salvador's gamble will pay off in the long run. The experiment is ongoing, and its ultimate success or failure will depend on a multitude of factors, including the stability of the cryptocurrency market, the government's ability to address security and infrastructure concerns, and the willingness of the Salvadoran people to embrace this new financial paradigm. One thing is for sure, El Salvador's Bitcoin experiment will continue to be a source of fascination, debate, and valuable lessons for the world to learn from.